The skill that we're going to look at now is compound interest. Compound interest is on your formula sheet. So you do not have to memorize this formula. You just need to know how to use this formula. So the way this formula comes from, P represents the principal. That's what you're starting out with. A is the amount that you end with. R is going to be the rate. So that's where you put your percent at. N is how many times it's being compounded in 1 year, while T represents the number of years. And it's also important to remember annually is 1, semi-annually is 2. So when you see someone says a semi-annual sale, that means they have twice a year. Monthly we know is 12. Quarterly, how many quarters in a dollar? That's 4. Daily, 365 days in a year. And then weekly is 52. So 52 is really the one that you're probably going to have to remember. So let's go ahead and look at that first example. Jasmine deposits $520 into a savings account. That's your principal. That's what you're starting off with. That has a 3.5% interest rate. Oof, that's where the rate is. So you have to convert that percent to a decimal by moving it to the left twice. Compounded monthly. So that is telling you it's going to be 12. So N represents the number of times it's being compounded each year. So that means you put 12 there twice. 1 here, 1 here. And what will be the balance of Jasmine's savings account after 2 years? So where you see T, you're going to go ahead and replace it with 2. Most mistakes I see happen right here where the rate goes. We want to just put 3.5 here. You have to convert that percent to a decimal when you place it inside of an equation. All right, and then from here, you don't have to do this manually. You will type this in the decimals as is, including all the parentheses. And this will be your final result. So let's go ahead and look at another example. Let's say your principal is $12,000. Interest rate is 12.7%. Calculate the amount of this investment after 5 years with an interest that's compounded quarterly. When you see terms like compounded, that's going to be a cue to use the compound interest equation. So then now we know our principal is $12,000. Our rate is 0.127. Don't put 12.7. It's 1.127 because you have to convert the percent to a decimal in order to place it inside the equation. How many times is it being compounded each year? That's 4 because quarterly is 4. And then it's 5 years. So you just go ahead and place it to your equation. And then that is your final result here. So then now we look at our next example. We're going to look at one more after this. If you deposit $5,000 to an account paying 8.25% compounded semi-annually, remember that's twice a year, how much money will be in the account in 7 years? So $5,000 is going to be my principal. I know my rate is 8.25%, but I don't put that. I got to move the decimal to the left twice and get 0.0825. And then semi-annually is twice, is 2 times. And then it's going to be 7 years. You just place it inside your equation. Lex had $1,780.64 in her savings account that she opened 6 years ago. Her account has an annual interest rate of 6.8%, compounded weekly. Oof, that's a great one. How much money does Lex now have in her savings account? So this one is written a little different. So they're saying that how much she had initially, and they're saying that it's 6 years later. So that's telling you that the years that you're looking at is going to be 6. It's just written a little different. Now, instead of writing 6.8%, I'm going to write 0.068 because I had to move that decimal to the left twice. And 52 because weekly is 52 weeks in a year. And then it's 6 years that you're looking for. That's 6 years ago. And this is your equation. So once you typed it in, your result is here. So she started off with $1,780.64, and now she has $2,677.03.